I'm sure we all had our extremely cringy phases when we were kids. You probably are familiar with the term horse girl, or maybe you knew that one horse girl. Heck, maybe some of you melons watching this was the horse girl themselves. To those who are not familiar with the term, I'm talking full-blown Urban Dictionary definition of a horse girl. There's no shame in these phases. I mean, I think we all went through them. I don't have much shame to admit, well, okay, maybe some shame, but I don't have much shame to admit that a huge majority of my life consisted of anime. In other words, I was a disgusting weeaboo as a kid. However, there's one anime series that captured my heart, mind, and spirit so far up its rectum, it made me physically and spiritually believe that I truly existed within that anime realm in very unhealthy measures. And that anime was Inuyasha. To some of you who aren't familiar with the series, don't worry, I don't really plan on diving too deep into the plot. All you gotta know is that it's about demons and half-demons in feudal era Japan, time traveling. It's by no definition perfect. It's probably more known for being those, this is my first introduction to anime type of spiel, you know what I mean? Personally, I was a messed up kid by default. My first anime was the movie Akira, and we're not gonna talk about that. I'm sure though, despite it all, it still got its nice community, filled with many fanboys and fangirls. But one little tiny 9-year-old girl who was in love with the series back in 2004 took it a little too far. I love the series Inuyasha a lot. And Inuyasha was one of my first out of the a million anime boy crushes. I love this guy so much. But instead of being a normal, quote-unquote healthy, everyday, cringy fangirl of the character, 9-year-old Vanna decided to turn it up a notch and physically believe that I was Kagome Higurashi. I was lost at Inuyasha's sea, fully convinced she was me. She was I and I was her. I vividly remembered one night I was snuggling up really close and tightly in front of my cute little Inuyasha plushie on my bed. I turned around to my side for a minute, I don't know, maybe to think about going to Toys R Us that weekend, and when I went back to my side to look at my Inuyasha doll, he went from facing the ceiling to suddenly directly on his side, looking straight into my eyes. And at that point, I physically remembered being convinced that my Inuyasha doll was alive and was the real Inuyasha doll man stuck in doll form, and I had to get him out. And in some sense, I too was a horse girl. But instead of claiming that I was galloping during gym class like a normal person, I was busy owning every single Inuyasha poster, merch, doll, shirts, bootleg DVDs, and practicing Japanese. Instead of having an entire wall full of just pictures of horses like a cute little girl, I physically believed that I had a sacred purple jewel of 4 souls stuck inside of my belly. And I know what you guys are thinking. You know, kids are kids, you know? No doubt. I know there were hundreds of kids that were once convinced that they were probably a fictional animated character. But I kissed my Inuyasha posters on the lips every single... I remember being on this specific website. Holy crap, I can't believe this website still exists. But I remember I was devastated when I discovered my blood type was not the same blood type as Kagome Higurashi's. Wait, we're actually the same height right now. 5 foot... So you could only imagine how cold my non-AB blood type went the day when I browsed on Twitter.com and saw the headline, Inuyasha sequel coming in fall 2020. Something I never, ever thought I would hear in this lifetime. Teacher Vanna here. So the moral to the story is that if you were obsessed with a cartoon character when you were young, there's no shame in having phases, be it an anime weeaboo phase, a horse girl phase, emo phase. There's no shame to it. We're all growing. We're all human beings. Learning, growing, for change, development, blossoming. Everyone is valid for these type of phases. No one should feel ashamed about it. Except me. Except the way I did it. That's the moral to the story. Don't do it like me. I'm an exception. I deserve to be shamed for what I did.